Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL week number 16 best bets where I go through my 10 favorite best bets here for week number 16. I believe I did go 6-3-1 last week. Unfortunately, lost the Monday night game. And I think someone is keeping a running total of my top 10 best bets, possibly in the comments. I know people ask about that, but I can assure you it is above 50% win rate. It might even be above 60%, which is really just breaking even. But either way, let's get into it, starting with number 10. It is going to be the Packers traveling to take on the Carolina Panthers. And, I was in on the Panthers the past 3 or 4 weeks. I love the narrative surrounding that team in regards to them not really tanking, so you could possibly find good value for Carolina. And they did win last week in an upset victory over Atlanta, but I'm back against them this week. I'm going in on Green Bay. I think they cover the 4.5, possibly 5-point spread, depending on which sports book you look at. Carolina, even with their victory, the 9 points on offense, it doesn't inspire, confidence into me. And also you have the fact that stadium is completely bare bones. They had about an attendance of 3,000 people at their last game. A lot of empty seats. This is not going to be a problem for the Packers, although the Packers have struggled in the past, especially the past few weeks. This is a must-win for them to try and stay within shouting distance in the NFC for possibly a wild card spot. They win this game. This might even be more ugly to where it could be 26-6 or something like that, in my opinion. I like the Packers to win this one pretty easily. Moving on to number 9. It is the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. This is one of the Saturday games. There are 2 Saturday games, and I do like Pittsburgh to win this game outright. It just feels like a game the Steelers would win. Cincinnati, for as good as they've been with Jake Browning, they really didn't play that well last week against Nick Mullins. Kind of had to come back and win late. They still have a backup. They're going on the road against a good defense. This is a Pittsburgh team that feeds off the home energy. I know they haven't been good recently, but we're predicting forward. I expect the Steelers to be a lot better next week, or not even be that better. This is just going to be an AFC North slop fest where it's Mason Rudolph versus Jake Browning, lower scoring game. I love the under. I actually love the under even more than betting on Pittsburgh plus 2.5. Maybe I should have included that, but I'm not sure what the over-under is. Probably the low 30s, but either way, I do have the Steelers winning this game outright. They are 2.5-point underdogs there. Moving on to number 8, it is the Browns traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. So CJ Stroud was out last week. I do expect him to be back for this game. If he is not, certainly all bets are off when it comes to this one, but I do like, as long as CJ Stroud comes back for this one, Houston to cover the 2.5-point spread. The Browns have been leaking oil. Yes, Joe Flacco's been very impressive over the past few weeks. The comeback win last week against Chicago when they were down 17-7, but I just think the Browns are due for a loss here on the road against a Houston team that still is fighting for the division there in the AFC South. They win this game relatively easily, and they cover a very nice 2.5-point spread, meaning, they win on a walk-off field goal, they'll cover, because they'd win by 3 points. Look at the FPI on that, 50.3% chance. That's because the Browns have a very good defense, even with all of their injuries. I just think the injuries are going to be too much for the Browns on the road in this matchup. I have Houston winning by 10 there. Moving on to number 7. It is Dallas traveling to Miami. This is the premier 425 game. Miami sitting -1.5. Let's keep it sweet. Let's keep it simple. And let's go against Dallas on the road when they're facing an elite team. In Miami, possibly getting Tyreek Hill back. Waddle having the crazy game last week. I think they win this game. Dallas's run defense has not been good. Miami has a very potent offense, especially at home. They're going to be revved up for this one, going up against the Cowboys. The views in this game is going to be crazy, being the premier 425 game with Dallas. There's nothing against Dallas. I have liked the Cowboys, although last week I tried warning people. I said, look, Dallas on the road, bad weather, cold environment, it's not going to go well. They got crushed by Buffalo. They're going to be better in this game. It's going to be better, more favorable weather, but I still have them losing to Miami in what basically is a pick-em, Miami -1.5. If Miami wins this game, unless they win by some crazy score like 29-28, they will cover that 1.5-point spread. Moving on to number 6, It is Buffalo traveling to LA to take on the Chargers. The home field advantage the Chargers are going to have in this game. There's literally no home field. Buffalo is probably going to have more fans at this game because of the situation surrounding the Chargers getting destroyed last week, giving up 63 points, firing their head coach, Justin Herbert, done for the year. They are fully tanking. They are trying to finish 5-12, possibly work their way into the top 6 or 7 in terms of the NFL draft. This is an easy one to me. I know it's the NFL. I know these players are going to play hard. I don't see any scenario where Buffalo doesn't cover, even though it is kind of a big spread on the road, minus the 11. Buffalo, they're very hard charging right now. They've got tons of momentum. They've won a few games. They won last week. Josh Allen really didn't even have to do anything. I think he throws 3 touchdowns in this game. It is not close. You could even see something like a 38-7 type final. This is a Chargers team that is completely dead in the water at this point. And again, I get it. The NFL is unpredictable. The Chargers might come out galvanized. These are still pro players, but it's just very unlikely. Give me Buffalo big here, 31-13. That's an 18-point victory, and they cover the 11-point spread. Moving on to number 5, it is the Jaguars traveling to Tampa Bay, the Battle of Florida. Basically a pick'em game. Tampa Bay, what a year they've had with Baker Mayfield possibly winning that horrible NFC South division, but guys, this is great value on Jacksonville. Jacksonville is just the better team, and Jacksonville did have a very bad performance, actually back-to-back pretty bad performances, losing to Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns, and then getting trounced at home in a Sunday night game against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a good team, but still, that was a terrible performance. They were only 3-point underdogs in that game. I think you're getting great value in basically a pick'em game here for the Jaguars. The Jaguars are just better than Tampa Bay. They are. I know Tampa Bay's been playing better, but give me Jacksonville with the value minus the 1. They win this game. They cover the spread there. I've got them winning by 8. I really have never been in on Tampa Bay this year. Again, I get it. Baker Mayfield's playing better. They're just kind of a meh team to me. You know, even if they make the playoffs, they're guaranteed to lose in round 1. I don't know. You know, they're a product of a terrible division. That's my opinion of Tampa Bay this year. Moving on to number 4. It is a Christmas game, the 4:30 afternoon Christmas game. The Giants at the Eagles. So right now, the Eagles, big favorites in this one, coming off. They should be 10-4, not 10-3, because they lost on Monday night. They're coming off that bad loss. They were up. It looked like they were going to cover. They had the ball late. Jalen Hurts, the terrible throw, ill-advised, deep interception. They kind of gave that game away to Drew Lock. I think they get back on track. I'm not going to overreact to the Eagles' recent struggles and Jalen Hurts' recent struggles. They're at home. They're facing a Giants team who really, the Giants should have 2 wins right now. They should be gunning for that number 1 overall pick. Unfortunately, they won 3 games in a row. They end up losing to New Orleans last week, not covering. I think there's another game where they get crushed by the Eagles. Let's not overreact. This is still a really good Philadelphia Eagles team. They can still win the NFC South, especially with Dallas and the tough game that they have against Miami. They win this game easily. They cover that bigger spread there. Moving on to number 3, it is Arizona traveling to Chicago. Chicago sitting 4.5-point favorites in this game. Arizona dealing with an injured team, trying to tank. I'm sure they would love to finish 3-14. Chicago, on the other hand, kind of on the up and up, even with the crazy loss to the Browns where it seemed like they were going to win on that Hail Mary pass. Justin Fields is developing. He's going try hard. Of course, he has to. He is fighting for his future right now in the NFL. These teams are just on completely different ends of the spectrum. You have one team tanking and another team trying to see if they have a franchise quarterback. They also have DJ Moore. Him and Justin Fields have been great together. This is also Arizona traveling warm weather dome team to a cold weather environment in Chicago. I love Chicago to win this game and easily cover, and I've got them winning 27-10. We'll see what happens with Kyler Murray. I know he was injured last week, but either way, Chicago should win this game fairly easily, and I think this number is going to get pumped up significantly because of the circumstances surrounding both of these teams going in opposite directions. Even though Chicago doesn't have the greatest of records, I think, if Justin Fields was completely healthy and they had a little bit better luck, they could very easily be an 8-6 type team, maybe even a 9-5 team. So either way, I will take Chicago at home to win that game big. Moving on to number 2, it is Seattle traveling to Tennessee. So this is just kind of a mucky game in my opinion. Will Levis possibly done. Ryan Tannehill may be starting. Ryan Tannehill is certainly a really good backup option for Tennessee. I mean, I'm glad they were starting Will Levis, but if he gets injured, it's like they have a good backup, and I will take Tennessee to win this game outright. It's just one of those weird type games where you have Seattle on a short week coming off an emotional win at home on Monday night, traveling West Coast to East Coast. Just not a great situation, and you can say Seattle, they've got all this momentum. I don't know, man. Even if they get Geno Smith back, it's not like they were doing that well with him anyways. I will take Tennessee, and I think a lot of Tennessee fans would probably be pissed off if they won this game. I know the narrative surrounding that team right now is they want to lose out, let Will Levis rest into the offseason, go 5-12, possibly get a top 6 or 7 pick, and draft a franchise-type left tackle. But I do like them to win this game with Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis, but probably Ryan Tannehill, and cover that 2.5-point spread. And then moving on to number 1, it is Baltimore traveling to San Francisco. We remember the Super Bowl. This could be the Super Bowl, honestly. These two teams, the number 1 overall seeds in both of their conferences, both could get buys. I do love the under. How about an over-under? This is the first over-under I'm doing this week. I guess in most of these games, I probably like the over, but I haven't looked at the weather, so this is just a game where I feel 46 is too high. If you guys remember last week, I liked the under 43 in the Baltimore game, and it easily hit, and this is a little bit higher of a number. I understand the 49ers offense has been very impressive. Brock Purdy right now, the narrative surrounding him possibly being the MVP, Christian McCaffrey being an MVP, but at some point, it's going to slow down. This is the NFL. You're not going to always throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. I think that Baltimore defense is able to shut down Brock Purdy and the 49ers in the first half. It's a little bit of a lower scoring game. 46 is just too high of a number for both of these teams that have really solid defenses, and you're going to see a few field goals early in this one, so I do like the under 46 there. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.